I would also like to thank the performers for setting the stage for me, but I will take you to another place in a faraway land, in Botswana, that is over in Africa, where a lot of the community, the collective community building, is still taking place, and it is part of the political culture of the nation. So we're going to see how technology and actually political traditions can marry each other. So a little bit about Botswana. As you can see behind me, it is in the southern, close to the southern part of Africa. And the capital is Gaborone. The size of the nation is a little bit larger than Spain, just to put it into perspective. And the population is close to the one in Latvia, so to bring it a little bit closer to home. They're about the Facebook, by the way, penetration of all of the young people is 239%. And the reason, with respect to the internet connectivity, that means that a lot of the young people communicate and engage in political or any other dialogue through mobile communications. Broadband is about 98% coverage there. And mobile penetration is 120%, which is actually more. Every citizen has typically more than one telephone. The capital, again, is Gaborone, and it's a vibrant city that is very much into the developing scheme. And one of the things that is quite peculiar in Botswana is their political tradition. What they had many, many years ago are what they call hotas. And what these are small spaces within each one of the villages where citizens, young, older, women, everyone has one voice, and each voice needs to be counted. So this is part of their tradition. One of their sayings is Tuaholo ke lamolomo, which actually means that the highest form of war is dialogue, which shows a bit just the political culture and its advancement from there. These hotas still exist, and they are just these, they typically have one big tree in the middle of the square where all citizens just gather up and they discuss things. This is rural Botswana today. So, but the interesting thing is that there is broadband connectivity. So a lot of the citizens that even live in the rural areas are very much connected to the rest of the world. The problem, though, that they have identified from the parliament, because now they have a parliament, they were liberated, by the way, they gained their independence in 1966, and since then they have got a parliamentary democracy. So is that the young people are actually disengaged from the political system. And this has actually raised the attention of the political leadership. And what they're saying is that we want to bring the young people back into the dialogue, back into the hotas, and let's find a way to engage them, which technology is one of these ways. This is the Madam Speaker of the National Assembly, and discussing it with her, she's saying in order for us to improve our democracy, we need to improve the voices not only of the young people, but also of the opposition parties. Just to understand a little bit of the context, and we can all go home and see how things are taking place within our political system, and try to understand that this is actually the leadership that has been around for a long time that is saying that. So let's find out how everyone is communicating to their elected official, to their representative, to their member of the parliament today. There is a system where there is the member of the parliament and that is elected, and the constituency officer that is actually residing in the district. The Hota still plays a very dominant role in the community development and decision-making in all of the villages. So this is where they typically elect a chief, and the chief calls up the different types of meetings, and the village just gathers up and they discuss different things. There are also different local authorities, the district council, the land boards, and the district administration. So they called this particular work Botswana Speaks. The way that it works is that actually the legislation is being introduced, and the legislation is being introduced, and it's actually going through different stages. So technology is interacting in the different points. So when the legislation is being introduced and the policy is about to be debated, then it goes and it is being published on the internet for citizen interaction, and also it is published in the hotas. So in these traditional spaces of gathering, we have actually placed systems where they are able to view the legislation. So the way that it works is that inside each one of the villages, there are different expert citizens, where they can actually, some of them are experts in education. A lot of these are their educators. Other ones are in the medical field. So they're looking at the healthcare system. Other ones in infrastructures, others in technology. And each time that a bill is being introduced, they gather the citizens and they have a discussion. So the constituency officer that is actually there, it captures this discussion. And then they take it and they make it a point into the hotas to be discussed with the rest of the village. So the expert citizens are actually giving their views to the hota, and then they transfer it back to the member of the parliament that actually represents this particular district. So this is an expert citizen forum where you would have in the front a lot of the expert citizens debating, and they're getting the views of the other citizens. All of these are open to the public. Anyone can go there. Then you have telecenters that are in every location. So citizens that do not have access to internet, they can actually go to the telecenter and they can view what is the legislation, and they can just get engaged through that. In addition to this, we are also monitoring some of the political discussions that are taking place in Twitter and also Facebook. And there are technologies that have been developed that filter that information, and they can, through argument visualization and semantics and so on, that they're actually able to filter and make sense out of this debate and discussion. There are mobile apps that are out there. Remember, it's 98% coverage, so they can actually view something and take a picture or take a video, and then it will, through their coordinates, we know what the location this took place, and it goes back into the executive branch and the parliament, where they can view and make selections of where they should put more funding, or where they should develop better policies, where they should target to make the locations much better. There are also the hota gatherings. If you notice, there are not that many young people around there. But this is what exactly is trying to be changed right now as we have this discussion. So there are also basic SMS technologies. So any citizen can actually sit and send an SMS to a specified number, and it will go to the system. It will be selected and put into the priority list. So all of this is ending up going into the parliament, where there are sophisticated systems that analyze this kind of information from the citizen engagement and the dialogue that is taking place, so they can make sense. So you can imagine, if a member of the parliament is looking at a certain piece of legislation, he can actually view in a small window what is the constituency that is in his or her district think about this piece of legislation, including suggestions and so on. So the system can be held more accountable. This type of transparency that is being practiced now in this part of the world, and it's probably one of not the most obvious areas, because most of the time we hear about conflicts, we hear about dictatorships, we hear about just political unrest. And there is a place, though, somewhere in Africa, in Botswana, where the political culture and tradition exists, and it is embroidered among the values of the people and the politicians. So the way that technology is going to work for them, it is going to build the trust of the young people to bring them back into the system, because now everyone will have a voice. It still needs to remain to be seen how they will be responded to. And this is something that we will be discussing at a later point. Thank you very much.